Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to Tarot Memoirs. Today we are going to be talking about the fours. So if you are new to this series, don't worry, I will link the playlist up in the corner up there in the cards, or you can click the little I and pull it down and it'll be there for you. But this is a series that I have been running on my channel for a very long time. I started with the major arcanas and I made one video per card through the majors. And in the minors, we're looking at them in groups of numbers. But essentially what this series is I like to share with you some excerpts from my favorite tarot books about the card or cards in question. I like to show you a bunch of images from my tarot deck collection of those cards. And then I like to share some personal memories or the ways that this energy shows up for me in my personal life, because I feel like that really helps to make the cards real. It's been very helpful for my own tarot journey, and I'm hoping that going on this journey with me is helpful for you guys as well. So as always, remember, if you want to engage with this content, you can leave a comment down below if you have a thought to share about the fours, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Or you can join us in the Supportive Tarot Facebook group and add any thoughts there if you want to engage in a slightly more private environment. Or you can journal about this stuff, or you can make VRs, anything you want to do, it's all good. But with that said, I'm going to jump right into it. So the three books that I am using for the minor arcana is Melissa Sanova's Kitchen Table Tarot, Yoav Bendov's Marseille Tarot Revealed, so we will be looking at the Marseille minors as well, and the Druidcraft Tarot Guidebook. So I've been using this throughout the minor arcana, and I'm really, really loving it. Again, I've mentioned this in my previous videos on the minors, but don't discount your guidebooks that come with your tarot deck. Sometimes there is some really, really wonderful information in there, and this just does a wonderful job of talking about numerological stuff and also giving just some different insights. I'm wondering if I'm going to be smart enough to edit that out. Probably not. If so, then excuse me. Or if not, rather, because it's probably going to be in there, because I hate editing, you guys. I hate it so much. I'm gonna have a sip of tea. Yeah. Moving on. So, those are the books I'm using. We're gonna first talk about the Four of Pentacles in the Rider-Waite-Smith and Kitchen Table Tarot. So first, actually, dial that back. Before I look specifically at the Four of Pentacles, I'd like to read the intro from Melissa Sanova's Kitchen Table Tarot, which is the fours, and she's got a keyword for the fours of resting. And so in each of the fours there is a moment of peace, of grace really, the awareness of your possessions and surroundings in the pentacles, the clarity of mind in the swords, the breath before the celebration in wands, and even the weariness and ennui of the ennui? Not sure how to pronounce that. Of the cups. There's a feeling of putting down defenses and relaxing into now. So much of tarot is looking to the future. The fours are the present. And I really appreciated that introduction. So, Four of Pentacles. This is about protecting what is yours. And I think that's a really balanced way to look at this card initially. While the Rider-Waite-Smith image looks at a guy who's just holding really tightly onto what is his, sometimes we see this card as greed or miserliness, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you're holding your resources for a reason. And I think that's really important to remember, whether it's energetic resources, monetary resources, physical resources, sometimes we need to hold on to what's ours. And there's nothing wrong with that. It can get out of balance though. And inverted, the Four of Pentacles is selfish, self-involved, and resistant to change, according to Melissa Sanova. Let's take a look at the Marseille Four here. So this is from the Tarot de Maria Celia. And in the Marseille, the Four of Coins keyword is stability. The illustration shows a solid rectangle of coins decorated with large flowers and several dotted circles. At the center appears a shield with three fleur-de-lis, well this one doesn't have it, three fleur-de-lis, the coat of arms of the French Royal House of Bourbon. So this is the version of the card being described in this book, and this is the version that I have. Oh look, they're like the same size. So you see the shield, and the shield speaks to that protective quality of the fours. You have stability, but you're also trying to hold on to that stability. And it says material solidity, a secure base. So this is a stable place to be financially. It doesn't necessarily have to be bad, but there's a reason that you're in that stable position. let's take a look at the Druidcraft Tarot for the Four of Pentacles. And actually, before I dive into the Four of Pentacles, let me give you some insights from the introduction to this number, because that's one of the things I really love actually about the Druidcraft guidebook, is that at the intro to every number, you get a full page talking about that number. So the pieces here that stand out to me are the number 4 suggests structure, security, stability, reliability, and the material world, but can also suggest limitation and containment. The message of the 4s is joy of the earth, joy of the world, what pleasures and privilege to be alive, what opportunity contained within limitations. And in the 4 of Pentacles, we see this gentleman here with a chest, and it says the keywords are hearth and home, harvest. Oh, nope. Gosh, I keep trying to read the wrong section in this guidebook. Okay, try again. The keywords are building wealth, rootedness, and security. In this instance, you may be using a preoccupation with money and hoarding to protect yourself from feelings of inner loss and inadequacy. If this is not the case, it is possible that you're feeling strongly rooted and earthed in the world, and that you are able to flourish with the sense of safety, security, and inner strength that this gives you. So again, balanced. A balanced perspective on that card, which I really appreciate. And with that, let's take a look at some images. Wait, no, that was just the 4 of Pentacles. Let's look at the other 3 suits, shall we? Excuse me, I'm gonna have some tea and try to stay on track. I am filming a few of these at a time, so that's probably why I'm getting squirrely. But I want to keep this series moving because we're getting there, guys. We're getting through the whole deck. So let's talk about the 3 of Swords. In Melissa Sanova's book, sorry, I said 3, I meant 4. The 4 of Swords. Put your thoughts at ease. This is a knight who is truly at rest. He is surrounded by swords but doesn't need them right now. Sometimes if you're not sure where to go or what to do, the best thing to do is to have a nap and figure it out later, which I loved that description. And inverted, totally scattered, totally overworking, and not listening to your body at all. So I'll tell you, over the years working with clients off and on with the tarot, that the 4 of Swords often comes up for people when they get ill, people that have their work life lives out of balance, who overwork or who tend to go or take care of a lot of other people a lot of the time. Sometimes your body kicks in and is like, nope, resting now, and you'll get sick. That used to happen to me all the time when my work and personal life were out of balance. I would get sick all the time. Now I get sick like once a year, if that. So that's pretty amazing. But yeah, I think our bodies have a tendency to just kick in and say, nope, time to rest. Let's take a look at the Marseille 4 of Swords. If I don't lose my voice, holy cow. All right, so I need both hands to get, these pages are not grouped by number, which is a little slower. So the 4 of Swords here is restriction. 2 pairs of curved swords create a solid border around the center. In the middle, a branch inside view completely fills the enclosure. It looks constrained with a narrow top flower. Yep. And the tip of the right hand leaf touching the swords. Oh, I see. So this one's not touching, but it's nearly touching. A stable but limited situation, pushing against boundaries. So there's this idea of restriction in that 4 of Swords, which is really interesting. Did we just do? Yes, we did. Okay, phew. I was like, did we just do 4 of Swords and 4 of Swords? Yes, we did. Let's look at the Druidcraft Tarot and look at the 4 of Swords here. So in this deck, we see this figure taking a rest. And the keywords are retreat, rest, and solace. There's a time to confront, to stand up, to challenge. But there's also a time to withdraw, to retreat into the self, and to find again the sources of your power. This one really, really speaks to me. Because to me, the 4, I can't talk. The 4 of Swords is very much a reminder that we need to pull away and take a break. Whether it's a break from a conflict or break from a situation or just a break, period. Let's talk about the 4 of Wands. So in the 4 of Wands in Melissa Sanova's book, this card to me anyways is a milestone card. And she says this card is a reminder to enjoy the moment. Because oftentimes this is coming after a bunch of hard work or after an area or a time of travel or of putting energy out. And there's this moment to kind of pause, take a breath, and enjoy the moment. Inverted, false starts, malfunctions of equipment or people, or collapse and failure of plans and ideas. So that makes sense to me as well. Let's take a look at the Marseille. And you have Bendov's book. And we have, oh, pardon me, got my hair itching my nose. Stalemate. The 4 of Wands are interlocked so that none of them can easily move. A temporary, the top flower, let's make sure this is doing this, yes, seems to be older than the bottom one. So the bottom one's still in a bud, the top one is opened up. And that is perhaps indicating that things continue to evolve under the surface immobility. So while things aren't moving necessarily, or they don't appear to be moving, they appear very stuck. Growth and change is still happening. A temporary rest, preparing a base for future advancement. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the subtleties of the imagery in the Marseille through this process, actually. And then let's look at the 4 of Cups. So in the 4 of Cups, this card can be defined by the word meh. Possibly avoiding an unsuitable partner or job that doesn't fit them. Maybe it's best to sit under a tree with your arms crossed until the right one comes along. I'm sure none of us can relate to that. Nope. Inverted, the 4 of Cups is about being unsatisfied and bored. Agree. For the most part, I agree. And let's look at the Druidcraft Tarot for the 4 of Wands and the 4 of Cups, because I totally skipped it. So let's look at the 4 of Wands first, or I held up the wrong card while I talked about it. No, I don't think I talked about it. Okay, so the 4 of Wands in the Druidcraft Tarot shows this kind of campfire, and it says hearth and home, harvest and celebration. This card is associated with the idea of harvest, of reaping the rewards of hard work and effort. I totally agree with that. And the 4 of Cups in the Druidcraft Tarot, keywords fallow period, stagnation, and limitation. Water needs to flow to remain fresh. If it stays for too long in a confined area, it grows stagnant. That's what stood out at me from the guidebook in this one. Because for me, again, the 4 of Cups is about emotional stability. And sometimes that emotional stability can feel very boring, unexciting. Sometimes it's good to be in that place of stability and comfort. But sometimes it means you're staying in your comfort zone and not really getting out of it. So let's look at some other images here. Oh, did I not show? I'm all out of order, you guys. Let's talk about the 4 of Cups in the Marseille. I didn't get there. So the 4 of Cups in the Marseille, yes, I skipped it. So I skipped all around. I'm sorry. We're getting through it, though, so that's good. You just might have to go back and forward a little bit to stay in order if you care about such things. So 4 of Cups is family. The illustration shows 4 cups in a square arrangement. The plant decorations connect them while giving each one its own place, and they create a central axis of stability and continuity. So you see this sort of stable plant running right up through the center, while each one creates they're each part of the overall stability of the structure. Now this one, they're not quite in a square formation. They're a little bit wider at the base. It's almost more triangular. And you can actually get the feeling almost of family with these 2 larger cups and the 2 smaller cups, which is really cool. Yeah, so that's that. Now let's look at more pretty pictures, which of course, obviously, the fact that I keep trying to jump to that part just tells you what I really like to do is show you all pretty pictures. So first I have the Tarot of Dreams by Ciro Marchetti, and we have the 4 of Coins. This is the guy with his treasures. The 4 of Swords, resting. The 4 of Wands. I love this doorway and this idea of just a moment of, I don't know, this kind of feels a little more 3 of Wandsy actually to me, but 4 of Cups. In the Everyday Enchantment by Poppy Palin, we have the 4 of Coins. The 4 of Blades, which is the swords. And I like what's happening here under the earth with these little badgers. The 4 of Wands. It's a party. And the 4 of Cups. In the Little Monsters Tarot, we have the 4 of Coins. Mine. But it doesn't necessarily look overly graspy, which I like. The 4 of Arrows, which is the 4 of Swords. The 4 of Wands. And the 4 of Cups. This is one of my favorites, actually. I love the comfort of this, I feel like there's a security blanket of leaves all the way around, and it just looks very cozy and comfortable and sheltered, which is really interesting. In the Shadowscapes Tarot, we have the 4 of Coins, or Pentacles, the 4 of Swords, the Four of Wands, and the Four of Cups. Crystal Visions, Four of Coins. This one's a little more graspy. Four of Swords. I love this image. It's so beautiful. Four of Wands. And I love this because it looks like they're about to take like a little picnic or take a little rest as part of their journey. And Four of Cups. In the Tarot of the Hidden Realm, we have the Four of Pentacles. More badgers. Cool synchronicity. The Four of Swords. The Four of Wands. Definitely a party happening. And the Four of Cups. Heartful Tarot, we have the Four of Pentacles. There's a little bit of a trapped feeling to that. The Four of Swords. Get that meditation feeling. Four of Wands. And Four of Cups. In the Stretch Tarot, we have the Four of Pentacles, Power. The Four of Swords, Rest. The Four of Wands, Completion. The Four of Cups is Contemplation. In the Happy Tarot, Four of Pentacles. Four of Swords. I just love the glowy effect of this deck. Four of Wands. I have an itchy nose, you guys. And I guess. And Four of Cups. It might be my hair tickling my face. Oh, things are happening. Using you like a mirror. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so let's move on finally to the Dark Mansion Tarot. We have the Four of Pentacles. This one definitely puts off that miserly vibe for sure. We got like an Ebenezer Scrooge looking dude. The Four of Swords. The Four of Wands. And the Four of Cups. So with that, let me tell you a little bit about how these energies show up in my life, or how I think they show up, and we'll go from there. I'm going to stick with the Dark Mansion images just because they're nice and big and it's easy to see them. So, in the Pentacles, my keyword is security. So, for me, this card is very much about holding on to what you have, as Melissa Sonova said, about having that sense of financial stability and security. And so the way that this shows up for me in like an everyday way is about making wise spending decisions. So being frugal at times when it's helpful. Sometimes Peggy and I will have a goal we want to meet or a thing we want to do. And we'll consciously do like a bit of a cheap week. We won't buy extra stuff that week. You know, we'll pare back on the extras like coffees outside of the house. We'll eat a little more simply our meals or whatever. We'll do whatever we want to do to make that goal. It's not something that we do from any sense of hardship. It's that we're not trying to be miserly. We're trying to hold on to what we have a little bit longer so we can do something in particular or save or do whatnot. So I think that's a way that this energy can show up every single day. For me, where this shows up in a really memorable way is when I was at my corporate job. This was years ago. I was at a fairly high-level corporate job, and I really didn't like the job. I didn't like the environment. There was things about it that I liked, the people, there was friendships formed, there was definitely strong connections there, and I was good at it, but I didn't like it. And so there was a comfort in the stability that this particular corporate job offered me, but all the other things that I like to feel and experience in the workplace were missing. But I was really hesitant to give up that security in order to leap into more of the unknown. And so for me, that attachment, that way that I kind of trapped myself or prevented myself from moving forward definitely had to do with this feeling of sort of clinging to what I had, that stability, both financial and like with benefits and things like that, but also mental and emotional. When it comes to the swords, as I mentioned, one way I think this can show up is that when we're overstressed or overworking and we're not consciously taking our own breaks, our body will give us a little hint that we need to take a break. So that's one way that this shows up in an everyday way, but it's also in it's also in experiences I have where there might be a conflict or tension going on in an area that I hang out in, and I might step back from that and take a break because prioritizing self-care is more important to me in that moment than being in the midst of that stuff. So sometimes it's stepping away from a battle that is either ongoing or is about to begin and saying, you know what, no, I'm going to pull back, I'm going to lay down my swords, and I'm going to be over here having a little nap and staying away from all of that. So sometimes that's how that shows up in smaller ways. In a bigger way, when I think about when I've had like a really memorable Four of Swords moment, it's when it's in a similar vein about the conflict thing. So two people really, really close to me had a disagreement, and one of them was Peggy, just to be clear. They had a disagreement, and, you know, I cared about them both. So it was really hard to not want to take up my sword for one of them or the other one of them, and it was this really tricky moment that I had to really pull back from and go, no, 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 I love you both, this is your guys' thing, and let them sort it out or not sort it out. And I had to really consciously step back and out of that situation and take care of me in that moment. And that doesn't mean that I couldn't be there for them individually or whatever after, during, before, but the actual like trying to go in and do battle for one of them or for both of them, that wasn't appropriate for me at that time. So that is what that makes me think of. And then when we talk about the Four of Wands, this for me is the milestone card. It's like that moment to celebrate the work that you've put in. And so in small ways, this is like when you check items off a to-do list, like the whole list still isn't finished, but each individual item, there's that moment of like, oh, okay, I can enjoy that feeling for a second. Next, right? So to me, this is that pause. It's that moment to appreciate what you've accomplished before you tackle the next thing. So for me, a notable memory of a Four of Wands moment is really about more general. It's more about realizing my worth in the workplace. So it took me a long time to be able to recognize that I have things to offer, but it also took me a while to recognize that this Four of Wands place might be my aspiration. So for some people, they might aspire to continue to climb a corporate ladder, for example, until they reach the very, very tippy top. And that is the pinnacle of achievement. Or it might be to make a certain amount of money, or it might be to be a certain title, or whatever. But for me, part of my Four of Wands experience was recognizing that when it comes to my job, there's a point at which things are beautifully balanced and where I have enough challenge, but I'm not overworked and stressed and bringing it home, or where I recognize what I have to offer and I recognize the balance between how I can apply myself at work and be successful and feel successful, and also how I can step back from needing to have certain things that look like success to under my belt. Does that make sense? So I feel like for me, the Four of Wands place is that place where I can just sit back and go, yes, this is my moment. This is my milestone. This is the place where I feel successful and I feel accomplished, but I don't need to have a lot of external recognition of that success. So hopefully I said that in an articulate way. And finally, the Four of Cups. Now, actually, most cards depict this as like boredom and unrest, but for me, the Four of Cups is really about comfort and that comfort zone. And sometimes that's a healthy and positive thing, and sometimes it can be a place where you drag your feet and you procrastinate. But one of the ways that I pull this energy into my life consciously on an almost daily basis is, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this on my channel before. If not, this is confession time. But I like to watch My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. And I like to watch that right before bed, or listen to a story, like a bedtime story, or watch some other cartoon. But I like to do something that's extremely light and fluffy right before I go to sleep, so that I can consciously turn off all the other stuff in my brain. That drama, stuff happening with friends, work stress, life stress, I can just put it aside and go into this emotional comfort zone so that I can have a good night's sleep. So it's a very conscious embracing of this energy. From a more memorable standpoint, a Four of Cups sort of time in my life was when we were living in a pretty toxic multi-household building, and things got really yuck, and I really didn't want to move. I was like, comfort zone, I hate moving, I'm a Cancer, it's really hard for me to want to move. And this one got really bad. This place got really unpleasant. And I just dug in my heels. I did not want to look at it. I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to get outside my comfort zone. I just wanted to sit here with my 3 cups. I don't care if the other place is better. Like I was avoidant and I didn't want to deal. So I didn't deal. And that did not go well. So I learned a lot. But that was me wanting to stay in my comfort zone. So you guys, that is all 4 of the 4s. And we have made it through yet another episode of Tarot Memoirs. I would love to hear your thoughts. So if you have thoughts on the 4s or your experiences with the 4s, please share them down below. As always, if you like to journal, your journal prompt is to write down a memory or notable way that these energies show up in your personal life for each of the suits, and keep a record for yourself of your experience with all of the tarot cards. I think it's a really wonderful way to engage with the tarot and to learn the tarot. As always, please remember to like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Take care, guys. Bye!